This is our PR shape. PR shape is our body contouring and cellulite smoothing system. With this, I'm going to first start by using lymphatic drainage. I'm going to do lymphatic drainage to the body to detoxify and get everything moving. Then I'm going to use the ultrasound to work down at cellular level. I'm going to heat up the cell. I'm going to tighten and tone by stimulating fibroblasts, creating collagen and elastin. I'm going to come back over here. I am going to contour the body by breaking down that fibrotic tissue, by smoothing everything out like in a kind of ironing mode. And then I'm going to do phase 3, the subdermal kneading, where I'm going to get deeper into the subdermal level to break up everything. And then I'm going to finish with lymphatic drainage once again to just flush everything out of the body that we have stimulated with the entire system. We're using the PR shape for body contouring and cellulite smoothing. Step 1 is basically your lymphatic drainage. You're going to go with the force of the suction. So I'm just gonna take the handle and I'm gonna place it down, and I'm gonna watch the skin as it gets slightly tugged into the roller. So once I have a good view of it being tugged, then I can, as soon as it releases, I'm going to roll forward. The idea is that I want to be at a complete stop when it's actually going to grab the tissue. So if you keep an eye on the tissue, it really helps to use that as a guideline. It suctions and it releases. Suction, release, suction, release. So because I'm doing lymphatic drainage and we keep in mind that the lymph system is very superficial to the body, I've got it set to the lowest setting so that it stays parallel to the to the surface of the skin. So every time that it releases, I immediately do a very short and slow move to get to my next position. I have to be at each position just before the vacuum actually grabs and picks up the tissue. So what's happening here is the vacuum and the rollers is picking up the tissue, it's lifting it, it's holding it between the rollers, and it's breaking that tissue apart, or it's making the motion to break the fibrotic tissue that's built up underneath. So I'm just going to slowly allow it to roll, lift, release, lift, release, lift, release, and every time I release, I do a very slow motion, lift, release, and I move forward. The lymphatic drainage step is always going to be linear, and it's always going to be upward so that I'm going towards the lymph nodes. The next step I'm going to do is the ultrasound. So I've got my handle. I have my 5 centimeter handle. And basically with this, I'm going to have chosen an area that's not too large. More or less, you can use a credit card or a business card, like a guideline, the size of your area. That's what you will work. And my movement is going to be a very slow, circular movement. I'm just going to go in slow circular. It doesn't matter which way, which direction. I can also do linear movement, kind of like overlapping. So I'd go back and forth, up and down, just overlapping itself. I'm just going to get this turned on. I'm going to place this handle right on the back of her leg, and we're going to do our circles. So I'm doing this circular movement right over the area, and again, just keeping within that small area. What happens is, if I maintain within that small area, it's going to heat up that tissue, it's going to heat up those fat cells, and she'll actually feel a nice warmness. If your client does not feel warmness to the area, then the area is probably too large. So basically what happens is, if your area is too large, then they won't feel the warmthness to that area, and so you'll just have to make sure that's a bit smaller. So just slow circular motions, or like I said, back and forth. You can go up and down, just kind of overlapping linear movements. And it's also stimulating the fibroblasts to create some collagen, some elastin, so that it can tone that spot. For step 3, I am going to do the body contouring step. And with this one, I've applied more oil. I've taken off the ultrasound gel, and I've applied more oil so that I can have some glide with my rollers. Here this is the step that's going to help to smoothen the cellulite. So I'm just going to get this turned on. My rhythm is going to increase with lymphatic drainage, I had it at the lowest setting. The rhythm, I had it set to very, very low rhythm so that I could stay, like I said, superficial to the skin. Here, I've increased my rhythm a bit, which actually means that the suction or the grab is a bit longer. And if you notice, I'm not going like I did with the lymphatic drainage with the suction, but rather I'm going against the suction. So I'm going to roll right through that suction. As it grabs and releases the tissue, I'm not going to wait for the grab, I'm just going to flow right through that. So I'm going to go linear movements straight up, and I can release. I can also do linear movements, coming right back down. And it's normal to see a little redness at the top of the skin because, of course, with that suction, I'm stimulating the blood circulation. So you'll see that pinkness on the top of the skin, but it should be gone by the end of the treatment, so it should not be a problem. So I'm just going to go up and down in this movement, in this direction. I can also do cross fiber. I'm going to do opposite direction. We're going to come back and forth. I like to hold the tissue kind of taut so that I don't have that excess of suction, and I find that it hurts a little bit less. I mean, this could be uncomfortable for some people. I find that if you hold it taut, it's less uncomfortable. So I'm going to do cross fiber in this direction. Just below the glute, right in this crease, I like to follow the crease, just in a back and forth motion, and I find that this almost gives you a little plump and lifting to the glutes. Right over the glutes. Back and forth, where you come in both directions. And then you can also do some waves, just kind of break everything up. In one direction, the other direction. So now I'm going to do step 4. Step 4 is my subdermal kneading massage. Same thing I did with step 2. With step 3. But my setting is going to be, I actually set it just a little bit milder, so it's easier to fight against that, that grab and pull. I'm just going to hold the tissue so that it's taut, and I'm just going to fight right through that suction all the way up. Again, my linear movements. All the way up. Releasing at the top, like if I was ironing, just all the way up. Or I can come up and come back down. And I find that with phase 3, you'll be using your release knob a bit more because the suction is stronger. So you might need that. Come all the way up. Same thing, I can, just like I did with phase 2, back and forth. And once I've completed step 4, my final step is going to be lymphatic drainage once again. So I've reset it to my lowest settings. I've switched over to my lymphatic drainage, and I'm going slowly with the suction. So once it releases, this is when I move. So suction, release, suction, release, suction, release, and I'm moving each time that it releases. I move just enough to move up just a little bit so that I can be at a complete stop before it vacuums once again. Finish with this step, finish with lymphatic drainage, because I need to flush everything out that I have stimulated and moved around.